Hey, what's going on YouTube? Aura Storm here with another discussion topic today. Today we'll be talking about creative elitists in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, we've all had to deal with these people who are more on the meta side of the elitist scale, who, they're the type of people you meet where they make Yu-Gi-Oh! Not fun. They typically, they're elitist about the game because they think they're better than you, etc., etc. But I've actually found recently that there's no such thing as creative elitism in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm going to give you guys a couple examples. Now, I do think this creative Yu-Gi-Oh! Elitism, where it comes from, is it's the quintessential hipsterism, which I've always thought of hipsterism as insisting on being different just to be different, which that's like the quintessential hipster thing. And that's where this creative mindset, I think, comes from. The other day, I was watching one of Team APS's videos, and this one commenter legitimately, quote-unquote, said, why even bother posting this deck profile of Mages and Pals, which commonly is referred to Pepe, but I don't like the name, so I call it Mages and Pals, because it has a nice little ring to it. So he basically said that they were wasting their time because it's not up to his, quote-unquote, creative standards. Now, he went into this whole spiel where he said, oh, my Draco Ignites are creative. My Volcanic before Mages are way more creative. And then he goes into this spiel where he's actually legitimately tells me he plays, Rose Warrior and Plague Spreader Zombie in Ignites. Plague Spreader Zombie has absolutely no synergy as with Ignites. I'm building the deck, I know, because you can't Pendulum Summon it. It's sort of like playing Archfiend Eccentric and Dynamis. I mean, the card is good, don't get me wrong. Dynamis' main scales are 3 and 6. You cannot Pendulum Summon Archfiend Eccentric, so it kind of, to me at least, defeats the purpose of playing the card. And that's why I don't play Archfiend Eccentric and Dynamis. And the same thing goes for Blake. I can't Pendulum Summon it. What is the point of playing it? If I want to use my normal summon, it's going to be on something like Elemental Hero Blazeman. I am working on that deck profile, by the way. I'm still waiting for the cards. But, and then as far as the Before Mages, I always find that these creative elitists play the most cookie-cutter engines that you can find. They typically play clowns in their deck and call it creative, and it's because and the same thing goes for Volcanics. Now, Volcanics are one of the most brain-dead decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! This is mostly because the people who net decked the guy who topped at YCS Charlton, they couldn't even get creative enough to play the cards that I tried out when I built the deck. When I played the deck, I instantly saw, okay, Temple of the Kings is pretty good in this deck because you can change a reload during your turn and get more advantage. I also saw that Soul Transition is not a bad card either because you never special summon. So you can tribute off your dead rockets and draw more cards, which is never a bad thing. Most Volcanic players can't even get to that level of thinking. So just to say, oh, I'm playing clowns in it. I could play clowns in Battling Boxers and call them creative. You know, they're not. And I just think that I noticed this, and this is the same thing with this next story. So I'm hopping on Dueling Network. Dueling Network always has these people who have stupid rule sets. You've all probably come, I've seen everything from no worms or UA to no more than 5 of any archetype, etc. And this guy has in his duel description only creative decks. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to go pick up Manchuria Trap Tricks deck. Deck profile is coming tomorrow, by the way. So I'm going to grab Manchuria Trap Tricks deck because if you guys have followed my channel a while, you probably realize that a lot of my deck lists, you don't see, some of the decks on my channel every day. And Manchuria Trap Tricks is one of those decks. And I built it from scratch. So I get in a duel, and then he says, oh, Kogarasu did this. And he links Kogarasu's, a video from, and the one thing that pissed me off the most is then he rage quits and says, your deck isn't creative. I don't want to play against you. And then he quote unquote says, you are a net decker, which is one of the most, by the way, that's one of the things that bothers me the most when people call me a net decker, because, while I do not have a problem with people who net deck, it's actually fine, I think, because it allows, things to become standard, and you can't just net deck and expect to do well at a regional or a YCS. But the main thing that, as you guys know, I typically build all of my decks from scratch. I like to do that because that's my favorite part of the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the deck building process. It's not like other card games where you play more than 40 cards. It's really difficult to get 40 cards in a consistent deck, and that's my favorite part of the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! To call me a net decker is not only angered me, and I literally said, what's creative to you? Another time he told me my Blazeman Ignites weren't creative, which you don't see Blazeman and Ignites every other day. So My point is that I feel like these creative elitists in Yu-Gi-Oh! Are just as bad as and irritating, even if not more so irritating in the meta players, because in reality, they just come off as the most irritating type of hipster that you run into. The type of person who can talk to you all day about something, but not see how much of a tool they are. So, anyway, guys, as always, I thank you guys for watching my video today. I really appreciate it when you guys watch my videos. Tune in on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Content. Also, if you like what you saw from this video, please subscribe. Storm, signing out.